You know, I'm still trying to understand why this was so hard. This was so hard, and I kept screaming at the computer that it shouldn't be this hard. This should be one of the simplest, easiest things to do, and it wasn't. I went through search engine hell, and I ended up using my old Romantic Times book review magazines for Flashback Monday. Those magazines still serve a purpose today. I still finding new authors to read in them today. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-S-T-I-N-A, and it's nice to meet you. And how are you today? Are you good? You fine? You good? So my pal here, Casanova's here to support me. It's been a trying week. This should have been the easiest thing to search, and it wasn't. And I'm sorry, but I'm not perfect. I'm not adequate. But I should have documented it better to better explain the situation, but I didn't. So I'm at a loss right now. But I will tell you that I wanted to do this, and I thought this would be so easy. And I even looked at some YouTube videos, and they were wrong. They were all wrong. And these women got tons and tons of views. This video, no one will watch. So I don't even know why I'm worried, because no one's going to watch it. No one watches my videos. I could use like and subscribe, by the way. I haven't yet hit 200 as of this taping, and I've lost 5 subscribers this week alone. So, and I've been doing this over a year now, and no one's watching my channel. So why should I be worried? But I would hope that you would watch my channel, and if you are subscribed, thank you very much for being subscribing. I really much appreciative. And if you could tell your family and friends. But so I thought this would be a really easy one to do. So I started researching detectives, and what I got, and I made this spreadsheet. See all these? These are all the ones that I've got for future podcasts, for future if then, but not this one. These are all the ones that came up while I was looking for this one. I was looking for detectives, and I will apologize. I'm going to show you some porn in a minute, so be prepared for that. So I was looking for detectives, and I got Amateur Sleuth, Osmond. I swear that's a book club, or one of them might be Retired Cop or something. But I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I did the review, I did a video, and I didn't go check it, and that's my fault. But I'm pretty sure that was a book club or some sort, or a group of friends meeting in coffee shops. They were not cops. I got tons of amateur sleuths and cozies. If you do cozies, and I did a video a couple weeks ago, point of view of the cat, you can do that, and zillions will come up, and they're actually cat. But I tried detective, and that was horrible, absolutely horrible. None of the authors I was looking for even remotely came up. Not even close. Not even the ones that I knew was absolutely guaranteed to be what I was looking for. So I tried Goodreads, I tried Amazon, I tried just a regular Google search engine, I tried library search engines, I tried all these different search engines for detective, and nothing came up. So then I tried like J.D. Robb, and nothing, all J.D. Robbs came up. Because there were over 60 of them, they all came up. So then I tried like James Patterson's Women's Murder Club. And I'm going to show you to this for 2 seconds because it's pornographic, and I don't want to alarm you or nothing, and I don't want to be offending anybody, but I asked for a James Patterson Women's Club books like it, and I got those. and I'm so gonna delete this now. Deleted. A sex club and a babysitter sex club. That's what came up when I looked for James Patterson books like. I tried similar. I tried all these different, I mean, for hours. I spent hours upon hours upon hours looking for this stuff. And none of the books that I was expecting to see showed up. So, tried cops, tried murder mysteries, tried, like JD, like Patterson, like TESS, like somebody. Nobody came up. I was trying, and I've made this list. These are all my future if then shows. Look at all the books. Look at all those books that I've got listed. We're going to do an if then lawyer. We're going to do then an if then detective. Some of them were former cops, which will also show up in this list. But also will show up in this list, but most of them are on their own private detectives. FBI showed up the most. Cops all over Europe will be one. Cops in the desert, we will do one with Native Americans. I hope I'm not giving that away right now. We have political. So I made all of these lists and didn't find what I was looking for this one. All these different books showed up. I could have made a cozy list too, and I didn't, because those are just easier to find. Point of view, solving a mystery by riding a bike, solving a mystery by eating, baking cupcakes, or bicycling, or knitting, or all that stuff is out there, but not this one. And I tried all these different, I tried like and if and similar, and put up the authors' names and went to Goodreads and tried to find ones that people had read too, and none of these people came up. So then I got a little lucky I went to my local library and I told them what I wanted, and their search engine was zilch too. That's how hard it was to find these, and these books are there. They're so easy. They're right there. Why is this so hard? And I didn't get it, and I struggled with it for a week. Why was this so effing hard? Change your search engine to homicide cop. That was the key word, homicide. And then they started popping up a little bit by little bit. So we're doing our first author. What I wanted was, and what this is, I hope it's here. I wanted modern day cop in a detect, like, I'm just going to show this. I'm not going to talk about it right now. First to die. Lindsay is a homicide detective in San Francisco. But she has a partner. She has Jacoby. She has Conklin. She works in a squad. She has superiors. J.D. Robb has superiors. So they're women. They're cops. She has a squad. She has a precinct. She has a city hall. We'll come back to this. We're not doing that one right now. But that was my goal. I wanted cops. I wanted a precinct. I wanted homicide mystery. And I don't know why it was so hard. Like I said, I found all those other books but these. And these should have been the easiest ones to find, and they weren't. So we'll start out with Helen Pfeiffer, One Left Alive, Detective Morgan Brooks. She knelt down by the side of the first girl. She had to force herself to breathe as she lifted the soft white cloth covering the girl's beautiful face. When the body of a woman is found hanging from a tree in front of her garden, rookie detective Morgan Brooks is first on scene. But Olivia Potter is past saving, and when her husband and daughters cannot be traced, Morgan knows there's more to this tragedy, and then she finds them lying huddled together in the basement, each of their faces covered with cotton cloth, their bodies cold to the touch. But as Morgan kneels beside the family, she realizes that one of the girls is still breathing. As she holds Bronte's fragile hand in hers, begging her to hold on, she vows to find out who done this. Every day Morgan wakes at 4:25, her old insomnia now fixed with a new fixation on this case. But every clue about the murdered family leads to a dead end, until trawling through old files she discovers a link to a cold case from years ago. Another family was murdered in this house and the killer was never caught. Morgan returns to the scene of the crime to discover more about this forgotten case. She finds another body. With Bronte still unconscious in the hospital, Morgan must act fast to solve this case and lay two families to rest before the killer returns for the girl left alive. Book 2. CAROLYN Arnold, The Little Grave Book. Detective Amanda Steele. Detective Amanda Steele stops just inside the doorway, recognizing the victim's face instantly. He seems so vulnerable in death, soft, human, even harmless, but she can never forget the evil he has inflicted. Her heart is hammering as she remembers her precious daughter, with her red curls and infectious laugh, and how she was lowered into that little grave. It's been 5 years since Detective Amanda Steele's life was derailed in the path of an oncoming drunk driver. The small community of Dumfries, Virginia may have moved on from the tragic deaths of her husband and daughter, but Amanda cannot. When the driver who killed her family is found murdered in a motel room, she can't keep away from the case. Fighting her sergeant to be allowed to work on investigation with such a personal connection to her, Amanda is in a race to prove that she can uncover the truth. Before the more she digs into the past of the man who destroyed her future, the more shocking discoveries she makes. And Amanda finds the link between a silver bracelet in his possession and the brutal unsolved murder of a young exotic dancer. She realizes she's caught up in something darker than she ever imagined and suspects that more girls could be in danger. But as Amanda edges towards the truth, she gets closer to a secret as personal as it is deadly. Amanda has stumbled upon a dangerous killer, and she must face some terrible truths in order to catch this killer. Save his next victim, as she couldn't save her own daughter. Book 3. Jennifer Chase, Little Girl Sleeping. An 8-year-old girl, Chelsea Compton, is missing in Pine Valley, California, and for Detective Kate Scott, it's a cruel reminder of the friend who disappeared from summer camp 20 years ago. Unable to shake the memories, Kate vows she won't rest until she discovers what happened to Chelsea. But as Kate starts to investigate, the case reveals itself too much bigger and more shocking than she feared. Hidden deep in the forest, she unearths a makeshift cemetery, a row of graves, each with a brightly colored teddy bear. Kate links the graves to a stack of missing person cases involving young girls. Finding a pattern no one else has managed to see, someone in Pine Valley has been taking the town's daughters for years, and Katie is the only one who can stop them. Now, we've done videos on this. Please check them out. I did them all last year. Please check out I will be doing Joanna Brady at some point later this year, but we did Jance, J.P. Beaumont. He's a detective. He's a homicide. He starts off as, that's why I included this, because he starts off. I will also include him in a different in a private eye section later. But in this section, he's a homicide detective with the Seattle Police Department, and he's Kramer's his boss, and he has some issues there, and he goes through a couple of different partners, but he's a cop in a homicide department in Seattle. And that he was one of the ones that I was waiting for to come up in my search engine search, and he never did. And I was looking for a homicide detective in a police department, and they never came up. I had to actually go through thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books to find these all. But I was looking for J.A. Jance to come up on one of them, and she didn't. When everybody, you need to go into Goodreads, and when you add your tags, add homicide detective or amateur sleuth or PD or department, or add those tags, but definitely add homicide detective. So some of these things start coming up with search engines. I looked at all the you can go into Goodreads and there's a section where you can see what all the tags are, and want to read, but you don't see cops. Cops is not one of the things, and homicide is not one of the things for search engine. So we need to put those in as tags. It could take a couple of decades because there's so many books on Goodreads. But I'm serious. Go in and fix your tags to say it was a homicide book, or an amateur sleuth book, or a librarian book, or a cozy book, and then put what kind of cozy. So book one is J.A. Jance, J.P. Beaumont, like I said, cop, homicide detective. The little girl was a treasure who could have been cherished, not murdered. She was only 5, too young to die, and homicide detective J.P. Beaumont of the Seattle Police Department isn't going to rest until her killer pays dearly. But Beaumont's own obsessions and demons could prove dangerous companions in a murky world of blind faith and religious phantasm, and he's about to find out for himself is the target of a twisted passion and that love can kill. And he's also an alcoholic, and that's a whole story there. But please check out my videos for those last year. Another one that I was suspecting to come up and didn't come up in the first bunch of searches I did, Rules of Prey, and I think I'm going to do these later in the year. John Sandford is Rules of Prey is book one. The killer was mad but brilliant. He left notes with every woman he killed. Rules of murder: never have a motive, never follow a descendable pattern, never carry a weapon after it's been used. But Lucas Davenport, the cop who is out to get him, isn't playing by the rules. The other side of it, my J.A. Jance, we just talked about with J.P. Beaumont. I will be doing JOANNA Brady. The first book in her series is Desert Heat, and she's not a cop when the series starts, but she becomes sheriff of her department and solving homicides in her department. Another one of my key search engine things. Not a book club, not a society. All these things that came up had absolutely nothing to do. I even got a couple of Disney movies in the process of my search engine. I'm like, it was so horrible. A cop lies dying beneath the blistering Arizona sun. A local lawman who may well become the next sheriff of Cochise County. The police brass claim that Andy Brady was dirty and that his shooting was a suicide attempt. JOANNA Brady, his devoted wife and mother of their 9-year-old daughter, knows a cover-up when she hears one, and murder when she sees it. But determined efforts to hunt down an assassin and clear her husband's name are placing her in danger. But she becomes sheriff, and the series goes on. She's a cop. That's what I was looking for. Cops. And so many of these books that came in the search engines would just drive me so batty. This is the only one that came up a lot. Michael Connelly, the Black Echo Harry Bosch series. For Maverick LAPD homicide detective Harry Bosch, the body in the drain pipe at Mole Dam is more than another anonymous statistic. This one is personal because the murdered man was a fellow Vietnam tunnel rat who had fought side by side with him in a hellish underground war. Now Bosch is about to relive the horror of Nam. From a dangerous maze of alleys to a daring criminal heist beneath the city, his survival instincts will once again be tested to their limit. Pitted against enemies inside his own department and forced to make agonizing choice between justice and vengeance, Bush goes on the hunt for a killer whose true face will shock him. Surviving family in harm's way because in the desert the one thing more lethal than a rattler's bite is the truth. Robert B. Parker, Night Passage, Jesse Stone. His name is Jesse Stone. He left the LAPD in disgrace, but lands on his feet as the new chief of police in Paradise, Massachusetts, a town on the Atlantic not far from Boston. It's less than idyllic than it sounds. On the arrival, the new chief finds him in between corrupt town leaders, a local militia, and a murderer on the loose. NYPD Red. It's the start of the Hollywood on Hudson Festival, and New York City is swept up in glamour. There's a red carpet premiere every night. The exclusive restaurants are filled with wealthy producers and premium directors, and thousands of fans have gathered with the paparazzi hoping to catch a glimpse of the most famous and beautiful faces in the world. With so many celebrities in town, Special Task Force NYPD Red is on high alert, and it can't afford to make a single mistake. Then a world-renowned producer fatally collapses at his power breakfast, and top NYPD Red detective Zach Jordan is the first one on the scene. Jack works with his beautiful new partner, Detective Kylie McDonald, who also happens to be his ex-girlfriend, to discover who the killer might be. But this is only the beginning. The brutal and public and horrifying spectacular crimes they encounter are about to send all of New York into chaos. Cops. It's cops. They're homicide cops. They're cops. You know how hard this was? And I had most of these books too. It just, this will come up in other ones. We have talked about this one in the forensics, but this wasn't the one. Well, this wasn't the one I was thinking of, but anyway. TESS Gerritsen, the surgeon. He slips into their homes and walks silently into bedrooms where women lie sleeping, unaware of the horrors they soon will endure. The precision of the killer's method suggests he is a deranged man of medicine, propelling the Boston newspapers and the frightening public to name him the surgeon. The cops' only clues rest with another surgeon, the victim of a nearly identical crime 2 years ago. Dr. Catherine Cordell fought back and killed her attacker before he could complete his assault. Now she hides her fears of intimacy behind a cool and elegant exterior and a well-earned reputation as surgeon. Her only comfort comes with Thomas Mudd, the detective assigned to the case, but even more cannot protect Cordell from a brilliant hunter who somehow understands and savors the secret of every woman he kills. The surgeon. Wait a second, I gotta get the other one. Okay, this is the right book. This is the beginning of Rizzoli and Isles. Rizzoli is a homicide detective, and that's what's not mentioned in the coverlet, but it will be in future books. Rizzoli is a homicide detective, and she's got partners, and she works in the precinct, and she works with Maura Isles in homicide. But this is the beginning. I thought I was going crazy here because I was thinking Rizzoli and Isles, and it doesn't state either one of them in the cover, but this is the beginning. If you pull up the reading list of Rizzoli and Isles, this is the first one. So they were cops, and that's why I included this. She's a homicide detective in Boston. You've watched a TV show. This is the beginning. So I thought I was going bonkers. Okay. So where was? Oh, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I just caught myself in an embarrassing moment, and it was recorded on video. Let's see if I can edit it out. I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna try really hard. And I also stopped recording, and I did another 10 books, and I have to redo all 10 books. I'm embarrassed. So forgive me while I have a moment. But we are up to James Patterson's Women's Murder Club. They're cops. Lindsay Boxer is a homicide detective in the LAPD. And she has her friends, Claire the ME and Cindy the reporter. But she also has Jacoby and Brady as her partners, and she works in a squad room, and she solves homicides. 4 women, 4 friends share a determination to stop a killer who's been stalking newlyweds in San Francisco. Each one holds a piece of the puzzle. Lindsay Boxer is a homicide inspector in the San Francisco Police Department. Claire Washburn is a medical examiner. Jill Barnett is an assistant DA. And Cindy Thomas just started working the crime desk at the San Francisco Chronicle. But the usual proceedings aren't bringing them any closer to stopping the killing. So these women form the Women's Murder Club to collaborate outside the box and pursue the case by sidestepping their bosses and giving one another a hand. And they form a bond. And we are doing, please check out my weekly videos in these. I started these a while back. We're up to book 21 I'm doing right now. I'm in the middle of reading. So, but these are cops. These are homicide cops. And you would think that this would come up in the search engines, and it didn't. And I was like, when I did the Women's Murder Club thing, oh, and now I've erased that picture. I showed it. I erased that picture, and it was yeah, it's gone. So anyway, I showed that picture, but I don't know when I showed it. But I was trying to show, I asked for the Women's Murder Club and I got sex books instead, sex clubs. I don't know why, but that's what happened. But I was looking for cops. When I was doing this, I was looking for homicide cops, homicide detectives. And it just, the search engines just blew me off 6 ways to Sunday. I formed lists with all these. I got all these different ones we're going to do. But homicide. So this is what I was looking for when I tried Patterson's Women's Murder Club. These people didn't come up. So we've got the next one is Blake Banner, an ace and a pair, dead cold mystery. Detective John Stone of the NYPD has the best arrest record in the 43rd precinct. He's a dinosaur who belongs to another age. Detective Carmen Dehan has such a bad attitude that nobody at the precinct can stomach her. Captain Jennifer Chavez wants them both out of the way and thinks they make a perfect pair. So she gives them the cold case file, the cases nobody gives a damn about. She just has no idea how hot a cold case can get. 10 years back, Nelson Hernandez and his 4 cousins were playing poker in a dive at Hunts Point. Somebody came in, blew them away, and beheaded and castrated Nelson, leaving his head and balls on the table. There was no shortage of suspects: the Jersey mob, the Triads from Manhattan, or the 43rd's own bent cop McCarrigan. But nobody was ever charged. And the night of the murder, McCarrigan went missing with Nelson's wife Maria. Tracy Clark, Hyde. A mystery featuring hard-boiled Chicago detective Harriet Foster, who's on the hunt for a serial killer with a deadly affinity for redheads. When a young redhead woman is found brutally murdered in downtown Chicago, one detail stands out: the red lipstick encircling her wrists and ankles. Detective Harriet Foster is on the case even though she's still grieving the sudden death of her partner. As a Black woman in a male-dominated department, Foster anticipates a rocky road ahead. Acclimating to a new team and building trust with her new partner isn't coming easily. Another victim turns up with the same lipstick markings. Foster suspects she's looking for a serial killer. Through a tip from a psychiatrist, Foster learns that Brody Morgan, a troubled man with a twisted past and a penchant for pretty young redheads with the bluest eyes. As Foster wades into Morgan's sinister history, the killer continues the gruesome assault on Chicago streets. C.S. Poe, Madison Murders. Everett Larkin works for the Cold Case Squad, an elite, if understaffed and overworked group of detectives who solve the forgotten deaths of New York City. Larkin is different from others, but his deduction skills are unmatched and his memory for minute details is unparalleled. So when a spring thunderstorm uproots a tree in Madison Square Park, unearthing a crate with human remains inside, the best cold case detective is on the job. When a death mask like those prominent during the Victorian era is found with the body, Larkin requests assistance from Forensic Artist Unit and receives it from Detective Ira Doyle, his polar opposite in every way. This next one, we will be doing this series later this year, but we got to finish the Murder Club first. And this is another one that you thought would have come up in my searches for detectives, and it didn't. James Patterson's Alex Cross, Along Came a Spider, and I can't remember. He doesn't have him here, but he has him in the next couple books. He has another partner. I can't remember what his name is right offhand. What have we got? A missing girl named Maggie Rose, a family of three brutally murdered in the projects of Washington State. The thrill killing of a beautiful elementary teacher, a psychotic serial kidnapper murderer who is so terrifying that the FBI, the Secret Service, and the police cannot outsmart him, even after he's been captured. Gary Sanjay wants to commit the crime of the century. Alex Cross is the brilliant homicide detective pitted against him. Jesse Flanagan is the first female supervisor of the Secret Service. They complete one of the most unusual suspense triangles in any thriller you've ever read. Alex and Jesse are about to have a forbidden love affair at the worst possible time for both of them, because Gary Sanjay is playing at the top of his game. The latest of the unspeakable crime happened in Alex Cross's precinct, and it happens under the nose of Jesse and her men. C.J. Carpenter, Never Alone. NYPD Detective Megan McGinn has just solved the most important case of her career, and yet she has reached her breaking point. Struggling under the weight of her broken family and the brutality of her job, Megan is ready to walk away from the force until the bizarre, realistic murder of a young woman brings her back. When the killer gets too close, stalking her from the shadows, Megan becomes entrapped in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. To understand the mind of a murder, Megan must walk a treacherous path, and the danger is only beginning. Kim Daughters, against doctor's orders. The Hannah housewife killer continues to evade the police for murders of her redhead housewives. Dr. Molly Jordan treats Detective Danny Sullivan when he's rushed into the ER with a critical bullet wound. Molly has never experienced a pure carnal reaction to a patient before, but Danny sparks such heat in her that nights he comes to her in fevered, steamy dreams. A cop's widow and a single parent, Molly is fiercely adverse to the life of worry that a loving police officer entails. And Danny isn't any cop. He's the son of a retired police commissioner and one of 6 siblings who are all law enforcers. After a bitter divorce, Danny is convinced that a cop's job and married life doesn't mix until he meets the bossy, irresistible Molly Jordan. J.T. Ellison, All the Pretty Girls. When a local girl falls prey to a sadistic serial killer, Nashville Lieutenant Taylor Jackson and her lover, FBI profiler Dr. Jordan Boardman, find themselves in a joint investigation pursuing a vicious murderer. The Southern Strangler is slaughtered his way through the Southeast, leaving a gruesome memento at the crime scenes, the victim's severed hand. Daniel Blake, Thou Shalt Kill. Hardened Pittsburgh homicide detective Franco Patrice is a man who lost his belief in humanity and the latest serial killing stalking his town on a mission to kill according to the 10 Commandments isn't quite restoring his faith. Patrice knows that his kind of vigilante justice is the most dangerous kind, and he's prepared to go into some dark places mentally and physically to catch his killer. Partnered with old-timer but experienced detective Mark Berardino, they discover the charred body of the first victim, Michael Redwine, a renowned brain surgeon found in one of the city's most luxurious apartment blocks. The Father Collier, a Catholic bishop, is set alight in the confessional at his cathedral, but they soon discover these murders are just first in a series of increasingly and shockingly seemingly unconnected murders. Patrice's investigation uncovers a high-class prostitution, medical scams, and religious obsession. But what Patrice doesn't realize is how close to the case he really is. Stephen J. Candle, he was a TV writer. He wrote a lot of good shows in the 70s and 80s. Inside department, they're called the Tin Collectors, internal affairs agents, the police of police. If they catch you breaking the rules, they'll come after your badge. If they want you badly enough, they'll collect more than just your tin. LAPD Detective Shane Scully is awakened in the middle of the night by a call from his ex-partner's wife, who is being beaten by her abusive husband. Racing to the house to stop the fight, Scully ends up killing his ex-partner, a cop who is beloved within the department. Suddenly, Scully finds himself an outcast shunned by his fellow cops who intend to extract revenge no matter what the cost. And Internal Affairs zeroes in on the renegade cop who, with their sharpish young prosecutor, the Ice Queen Alexa Hamilton, has her own reasons for taking revenge on Scully. Okay. And a steep price, Robert Giugini. Called in to consult after a young woman's disappearance, Tracy Crossway has the uneasy feeling that this is no ordinary missing persons case. When the body turns up in an abandoned well, Tracy's suspicions are confirmed. Estranged from her family, the victim has balked on arranged marriage and had planned to attend graduate school, but someone cut her dreams short. Solving the mystery behind the murder isn't Tracy's only challenge. The detective is keeping a secret of her own. She's pregnant. And now her biggest fear seems to be coming true when a new detective arrives to replace her. Meanwhile, Tracy's colleague Vic Fazio is about to take a fall after his investigation into the murder of a local community archivist turns violent and leaves an invaluable witness dead. Okay. I wanted cops. I wanted detectives. Cops. Detectives. She runs a squad. A New York real estate tycoon plunges to death on a Manhattan sidewalk. A trophy wife with a past survives a narrow escape from a brazen attack. Mobsters and moguls with no shortage of reasons to kill tried out their alibis, and then in suffocating grip of wreckage heatwave comes another shocking murder and a sharp turn in a tense journey into the little dirty secrets of the wealthy. Secrets that proved to be fatal, secrets that lay hidden in the dark until one NYPD detective shines a light. Mystery sensation Richard Clark, blockbuster author of the wildly best-selling Derek Storm novels, introduces his newest character, NYPD homicide detective Nikki Heat, tough, sexy professional. And she has a squad. She solves murder cases. And for those of you who know, I'm an audiobook person. Okay. Cops. Solving murder mysteries. These didn't come up in my searches either. It's the start of Hollywood on the Hudson Festival, and New York City is swept up in the glamour. There's a red carpet premiere every night. The most exclusive restaurants are filled with wealthy producers and prominent directors, and thousands of fans gather with paparazzi, hoping to catch a glimpse of the most famous and beautiful faces in the world. With so many celebrities in town, Special Task Force NYPD Red is on high alert. Then a world-renowned producer fatally collapses at his power for breakfast, and a top NYPD Red detective, Zach Zordnes, is the first on the scene. Zach works with the beautiful new partner, Detective Kylie McDonald, who also happens to be his ex-girlfriend, to discover who the killer might be. But this is the only beginning of a brutal, public, and horrifying spectacular crimes they've encountered are about to send of New York into chaos, putting NYPD Red on the ropes. And we'll do that series too. Then I have a few extras here. Number 7 Ocean Drive is a gorgeous multi-million-dollar beachfront estate in the Hamptons, where money and privilege know no bounds, but its beautiful Gothic exterior hides a horrific past, was the scene of a series of depraved killings that have never been solved. Neglected, empty, and rumored to be cursed, it's known as the Murder House, and locals keep their distance. Detective Jenna Murphy used to consider herself a local, but she hasn't been back since she was a girl, trying to escape her husband's past and rehabilitate a career on the rocks. The former New York City cop hardly expects the lush and wealthy surroundings to be a hotbed of grisly depravity. But when a Hollywood power broker and his mistress are found dead in the abandoned murder house, the gruesome crime scene rivals anything Jenna experienced in Manhattan. And what at first seems like an open and shut case turns out to have as many shocking secrets as the murder house itself, as Jenna quickly realizes that the mansion's history is much darker than even the town's most salacious gossips could imagine. Hi. Hi, Sandy. Hi, my Sandy. Let's just go through. I have 2 of these. These are both. No, that's him. Okay. So, These didn't come up either in any of the searches. Never assume you know someone. Harry Blue is top investigator in the sex crime department. She's a seasoned pro who's seen it all, but even she didn't see this coming. Her own brother's arrest for the grisly murder of 3 beautiful women. Michael Bennett. New Yorkers aren't easily intimidated, but someone is doing their best to scare them. Badly, why? After 2 crippling high-tech attacks, the entire city is on the edge. Detective Michael Bennett, along with his old pal, the FBI, Emily Parker, have to catch the shadowy criminals who claim responsibility, but they're as good at concealing their identity as they are at wreaking havoc. And I have this other one. It's Michael Bennett also. The son of New York's wealthiest families is snatched off the street and held hostage. His parents can't save him because his kidnapper isn't demanding money. Instead, he quizzes his prisoner on the price others pay for his life of luxury. In this exam, wrong answers are fatal. Detective Michael Bennett leads the investigation with 10 kids of his own. He can't begin to understand what could lead someone to target anyone's children. As another student disappears, another powerful family uses their leverage and connections to turn up the heat on the mayor, the press, and anyone who will listen to stop this killer. Their reach extends all the way to the FBI, which sends its top abduction specialist, Agent Emily Parker. Bennett's life and love life gets suddenly more complicated. And to end this, we end with my favorite series. I did over 60 of these videos last year. You will have to check them out. Eve Dallas is a lieutenant in the New York City Police's Security Department. Her boss is Whitney. Mira is the psychiatrist of the department. Peabody is her future partner. Mavis is her best friend from the city. She's a grifter. There's a whole story there. She meets Rourke in this book. She eventually marries him. And Somerset, his major domo. Mavis meets Leonardo. We get Peabody, McNabb. Feeney is captain of EDD. This is a whole family. All 60 books. I did all of them. So you will have to check them out. And this is what I was looking for. I was looking for books like J.D. Robb, books like James Patterson's Women's Murder Club, like similar. These terms, they were so hard. They didn't come up in any search engines. I was getting amateur sleuths and cops and all different. And that's why I filled this list up with all my different future podcasts. My other one I'm looking for right now is partners, like Starsky and Hutch. I want a partner team. We can do Rizzoli and Isles for that, but Rizzoli wasn't teamed up with Isles. She was teamed up with someone else in her department. Lindsay is teamed up with Conklin and Brady and Jacoby at certain points. So she is partners. Eve will be eventually teamed up with Peabody. But so I'm looking for, but not really Regency, because there's Louise Penny or Perry, whatever her name is. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, but she had like Charlotte and Trent or something. So I'm looking for those too, but I wanted modern day partners. New York Police Lieutenant Eve Dallas is hunting for a ruthless killer. In more than 10 years on the force, she's seen it all, and she knows that her survival depends on her instincts. She's going against every warning telling her not to get involved with Rourke, an Irish billionaire. But passion and seduction have rules of their own, and it's up to Eve to take a chance in the arms of the man and solve the murder mystery too. Hello, little girl. So please check out Flashback Mondays and Star Trek Fridays, and if then, hopefully this works out, and this is a good video after my huge major flub up. We'll see if I can fix it. But I don't think I can. Hopefully I can. But please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.